Pencil.
You can go ahead too now, Tyson.
All right. What's going on, sports fans? Big Tyst and the gang coming at you from
What's
Lunch Table
good?
Sports. Gang, how we doing?
Who's back?
Lovely.
I'm doing amazing, guys.
Hell yeah. I'm doing amazing too. We're in the heat of the NBA playoffs. It's wonderful. Favorite time of year.
Oh yeah.
Bucks up
A
1-0.
wonderful time of year.
I think
Also
think-
down 18, where I'm
Suns up
currently
1-0.
We're
I
not
think
talking
I-
about that. Game's not over yet. All right.
I think I'm gonna have to agree. Heat up 1-0.
Yes, sir. Them Heat.
Suns up 1-0.
fucking, if Embiid
Much.
can't make it back, them Heat are gonna run through the 76ers, I think.
Hey, them Bulls down 4-1.
That's too
It's a
bad.
sad time.
It's too bad, Bush.
Hey, you know what? It's all right. It's all right.
Well, hey, the first round of the NBA playoffs is in the books. We talked about it a little bit as it was happening, but just to get a quick recap of how we got to where we are now. As Bush just mentioned, the Bucks took care of the Bulls in 5 games, a little gentleman sweep. How you doing? Keep it moving. The Celtics, I think the Celtics had already completed the sweep over the Nets when we during the last episode. They made quick work of them. We got the Heat. The Heat took care of the Hawks in what, 5, 6?
5.
5.
Bam,
Another
bam, thank you,
gentleman
ma'am.
sweep. Yes, sir. And then the Sixers beat the Raptors in 6.
And that last
Doc
game.
Rivers did not blow a 3-0 lead.
Surprisingly.
Cool, man.
And then in the West, the Pelicans made it interesting with the Suns, but the Suns beat them in 6. Move on, fully healthy going into the next round. The Mavs beat the Jazz in 6, I believe, as well.
Yes.
The Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves in 6.
Yep.
And then the Warriors beat
Beat the Nuggets.
Beat the Nuggets, yeah, in 6, right? 5?
5.
5-4.
5? No, they
No,
didn't sweep them.
They definitely won
I
the
think
game.
I think it was
Is it
6. I think it was 6.
I think it was 5. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, most of that played out pretty much as I expected it to. Don't really think there was any major surprises. Maybe the Pelicans taking it to 6 was kind of a surprise, but also
Yeah.
Booker was out.
Celtics
So.
sweep was a surprise.
Yeah, true.
That one was
I-
surprising as hell.
I think we all actually picked that to go 7 games or 6.
Yeah.
We did.
At least
6 or
6 or
7,
7.
and
We
even
definitely,
Saya picked the Nets.
yeah, I did pick the Nets, man. I'll say it.
Hey, I saw something the other day talking about almost 10 years ago to the dot. A 23-year-old Kevin Durant met a 33-year-old Kobe Bryant in the Western playoffs, and the Thunder beat the Lakers in 5 games. And that was kind of the first time we really realized that, like, okay, Kobe's exiting his prime. He's not going to be what he once was. And at the same time, it was when we realized that Kevin Durant had arrived. And I think the same thing might have just happened in the Celtics Nets series, where this is kind of the first instance of us really seeing, okay, like Kevin Durant, like, might start to be on like the decline now, like exiting his prime, arguably best player on the planet state. And at the same time, I think we can truly say now that Jason Tatum has arrived as a superstar in the NBA. So
Agreed.
kind of a cool passing of the torch, a little full circle moment for Kevin Durant. But yeah,
It's bound to happen eventually. I mean,
it was. I think the same thing could be said about James Harden too. Like, he still has value in this league for sure, but I think that it's definitely evident that he's not the same 40-point triple-double guy that he was, back on the Rockets. I think he's just kind of more of like a facilitator now, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like these guys can't stay in their prime forever, but
I mean,
It's kinda crazy.
We're getting
We're
older.
getting old.
Everybody's getting older. Everybody's getting to that point. There's just
Oh,
new
yeah.
people that got to take the torch now. Luka, Tatum, all these dogs. So sad,
yeah.
but it's kind of cool to see. I mean,
Indeed. Well, hey, one of the teams that got bounced in the first round, the Jazz, seems to be a little bit of trouble in paradise, as Rudy Gobert has apparently come out and said that he has demanded that the Jazz either trade him or Donovan Mitchell.
It's gonna be him.
Yeah.
There's no way
think
they're
Donovan
trading
Mitchell-
Donovan Mitchell.
I think
Here's the
Donovan
thing,
Mitchell
if
wants
they're-
it to be Donovan Mitchell, though. I
If
think
they're
they
if
both
they're
want to be the
smart-
ones to get traded.
We
If
have
they're
lost
smart
players,
though, if they're smart, it's got to be Rudy Gobert. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, just a young piece. Dude's an absolute beast. You don't trade that guy away.
Yeah.
Nah, can't trade Spider.
But what do we think? What do we think are some potential landing spots? If say it were to be Rudy Gobert who gets traded, what do we think are some potential landing spots?
I was talking to Saya the other
Hornets?
day. Yeah, either the Hornets or me, Saya. I think we were there, Tice. We were talking about him going to the Nets.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be really good for him and the Nets.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I don't
If
know
he
how
doesn't have to
many.
be- yeah, there you go, Saya. He's back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many future picks that the Nets have or still
Yeah.
left have
Or even
after
have.
the Harden trade. But if they were able to make that happen, that obviously fills the biggest void that the Nets were facing was interior defense, which was
Just
the-
straight size.
and size, which is the prime reason on why they lost against the Celtics.
It'd be the perfect landing spot. Yeah, absolutely perfect. I don't know what the Hornets would want to even give up for Gobert because they have such a young unit that can grow together.
I mean, they've got PJ Washington has had his name circle around in some trade rumors before. So and they still have Montrezl Harrell they can give up. So there are some pieces that.
Another
If you-
one, maybe no, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay, I was just saying another maybe the Mavs.
The
Rudy
Mavs.
Gobert on the Mavs would be
Mavs.
nice. They don't have a. Yeah,
They don't really have a big.
They don't have a solid big man, right? That's what I'm saying. They have.
I mean, after the
what's his name?
Porzingis trade,
I feel like if you're
Exactly.
going to pair Luka with another big man, because him and Porzingis didn't really work together. If you're going to pair him with a big man, it can't be a soft big man who's scared of like being in the paint, you know?
Yeah.
Like on
I mean,
offense,
right.
Rudy Gobert is like not very effective, like in the paint as an offensive player. Like he needs to go to a team that has like other main scoring options where like he can really like focus on like defense and
defense.
stuff. I feel like Luka needs a big man who can be like a solid, reliable pick and roll partner. And I don't think you're getting that in Rudy Gobert.
Agreed.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it last time about how Gobert is not that number 2 option, and you don't want him to be that guy paired along with somebody else. But
That's why
I
the
don't know.
Nets make sense, because I mean, you would literally need essentially nothing out of him on the offensive end when you got Katie and Kyrie. But
And Ben Simmons.
yeah,
that's-
exactly.
Yeah, wow.
But
it's one
Yeah.
of those.
Didn't
we
think
shall
about that.
see.
It's hard
mean-
to find a spot that like he is like truly needed at right now. I mean, like when like thinking just off the top of my head, there's no team that I'm like, yeah, he'd be a perfect fit there. I mean, like he's just been with the Jazz for so long, and that his like usage. I'm gonna turn on my light because it's dark as hell here. But like, it's his usage in Utah is like basically how I would see him with anybody else, just a team that needs defense, but who truly needs a big man at this era right now?
If I were predicting anything, and I'd say any Eastern Conference team should really be looking to trade for Gobert, just because in the East alone you got to do with Embiid, Giannis. You have the length in KD. You have Bam Adebayo. You got Chris Middleton, and you got a lot of people who are lengthy in the East that need to be defended.
I mean, fair enough. It makes sense. I mean, you're completely right about that. It's just like, I'm thinking like teams in the playoffs, because I don't think a team that's like right outside the playoffs wants Gobert. Like, I feel like genuinely it's just like Gobert's like that final piece to a team. Like, and so I'm thinking playoff teams, and like I could see maybe the Celtics, if they were to trade maybe Horford and things, but at that same time, I don't think they'd want to do that either. You got the Heat, definitely not. The Sixers, definitely not. You have the Bucks, definitely not. There's no way in hell. The Bulls, possibly, but you have Vucevic, so it's like
no. But see, the thing is, I think that you could swap Vucevic and Rudy Gobert pretty interchangeably. Yes, you lose some offensive firepower, but that's not what the Bulls were lacking.
the Bulls need defense.
Yeah, and they need someone that can guard the paint. Vucevic wasn't a great paint defender.
No.
And it seems like if they're playing smaller on the rest of the lineup, if that's something that they want to do, they've still got Patrick Williams who could fill the 4, DeMar can fill the 3, Caruso and Lonzo on your guard spots. So then as a whole defensively, that team takes a giant step forward.
I mean, I could definitely see it.
There's another team.
Sense.
Another team I could see is the Timberwolves. I feel like with their current roster, if you put Cat back at like the true stretch 4 where he really excels at and had Rudy Gobert playing the 5, you would still have Ant and Cat as your like 2 scoring options, and even D'Lo as your 3rd for that matter. I think that could be a really good fit. I mean, draft capital, young players.
They're going to be expecting a player return because it's not like
they got a lot of young pieces.
I'm going to give up Gobert and all of a sudden not be a playoff team. Like they still want to be contenders. Yeah. So they're going to
have young pieces though. They have Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid and probably a shit ton of picks. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Timberwolves traded like a package for somebody.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I feel like they have to give up a player. Like if you're going to get Gobert, they're going to be expecting someone in return. Like it's not going to be Pat Bev. It's not going to be one of their backups. Like they're going to want, it's not going to be Edwards, obviously. And it's not going to be Cat, but I could see low key D'Lo being part of that deal.
Personally,
possibly.
I if it's not D'Lo as the other guard, I actually do kind of like Pat Bev, even though they just signed him to an extension contract. I would like him on the Jazz rather than Mike Conley, because what Rudy is saying that is wrong with the Jazz is that their wings, their 2s, their 3s, their 4s are all too soft on defense, essentially, saying that they're letting
everything go to Gobert.
Yeah. And getting someone who's going to stop the ball at the point of attack does kind of fit what they would want to do. I mean, shit, who knows what they want to do?
At this point, the Jazz are such a confusing organization. I've never really understood what they want to do. I mean, they were number 1 seed in like 2021 and still fumbled the bag. Like,
yeah,
they're just a very confusing team. Do not like them.
Well, hey, according to Rudy Gobert's requests, a deal needs to be made very soon. So
who knows? Maybe it will be.
We could see some fireworks here, but anybody else got anything on the NBA? Because we got a draft that just happened.
Yeah, I'm more excited about that. I'm not even gonna lie. That was a very exciting time.
Oh yeah, that NFL draft, much anticipated, definitely lived up to the hype. I mean, the run of edges and then corners and then receivers all in that first round was crazy. I mean, there was like 3 straight picks that were traded in a row there.
Yeah,
just for receivers.
This year's first round draft had 18 draft trades. So wow. 18 times teams were sliding in and out of picking in spots. That is wild, dude. That's more than more than half the league. I don't think we've seen that.
It was insane, and not one of them was for a quarterback.
No,
not one of them.
This draft continued the trend of the first quarterback either being taken top 3 or after 18. I think that's like the 21st year in a row that the first quarterback taken was either inside the top 3 or outside of the top 18. So kind of interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense if they don't start going early. Everybody, I guess, is just playing like a game of chicken.
Yeah, who's going to take the first one?
Until one goes. But Yeah, no, all the trades and stuff. Dilly, obviously, your Cardinals went out and traded for Hollywood, and then the Eagles
like
a couple
it.
picks later go and trade for AJ
Oh
Brown.
my goodness, dude.
That was definitely crazy. I mean, the one guy we were all expecting to really be traded on draft night was Debo, and then two other guys go instead of him. But Dilly, how are you feeling about it? Obviously, the Deandre Hopkins news came out today as well about his suspension. So how are you feeling about bringing in Hollywood?
I liked it from the start. Now that the whole DeAndre Hopkins thing came out, it kind of clicks. Obviously the Cardinals must have known about the DeAndre Hopkins suspension coming into play. That's one of the main reasons why they traded for Hollywood Brown. Obviously we all know the last couple years, Kyler and the Cardinals off to a great start, top 5 record in the league, and then towards the end of the year they fall off. And last year, during 5 of the 8 games that we fell off on, we didn't have D-Hop. So statistically and physically, everything, DeAndre Hopkins makes the Cardinals so much better when he's on the field. With that being said, I have more confidence in us, without him this year than I did last year, considering we did get Hollywood Brown, and he can make a good wide receiver one for the time being. Last year he had like 8 touchdowns, or maybe in his career. I don't know. Can't remember what I heard, if it was last year or just in his career. He has like 8 touchdowns from passes 20 and over yards. So D-ball will be in effect more often. So I'm happy. I mean, it sucks about Diop just because he's due for a Pro Bowl type year, and it's not going to come this year. So
I don't think this is a shut case though with him yet, because he's definitely gonna fight it. Because according to him, it was unknowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it definitely is a good move for the Cardinals. I mean, keep their offense at least somewhat afloat to the level that it is with D-Hop in while he's out.
Keep their quarterback happy.
Oh yeah,
it makes too much sense. I mean, you give him Marquis Brown, his old receiver back in college, and I mean, it's not like Marquis Brown is this decent receiver. I mean, he was the number 1 receiver for the Ravens. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not like he was putting up crazy numbers, but he was their number 1 receiver next to Mark Andrews. I mean, but he's a tight end. I'm not counting that. So Marquis Brown coming into that situation without D-Hop to start the season, I think honestly might be. It sounds weird. It might be better that D-Hop's not starting the season so that Kyler and Marquise can build that repertoire back up. And so that when D-Hop comes back, you basically have 2 number 1 receivers to throw to.
Yeah, and let's not forget that I feel like the blatant obvious was that at least to me that Marquise Brown did not fit the Ravens offensive scheme whatsoever. He was kind of
the second lowest pass percentage.
Yeah, he was kind of just a speedy receiver that they drafted to have just someone to have a deep threat, and it never really clicked with Lamar Jackson. So for both teams, honestly, I think it's better that they went separate ways.
I mean, they got to have some confidence in Rashad Bateman, though, too. At that point, if you're going to trade Marquise Brown, they have to be confident in Rashad. I mean, he didn't go too much last season, but
I like Rashad Bateman a lot.
I mean, definitely. I mean, he was a dog coming out of college, and I thought he was going to be that breakout, rookie receiver that nobody was talking about, and he was going to be that guy, and it didn't click because of injuries and other things. But, I mean, this year he's going to have to step up, and I think he is going to. So, it's going to be exciting for honestly both teams. And on top of that, with how the Ravens drafted, I
was going to say that. Stole Kyle Hamilton in the first round, and 10 picks later from the Cardinals pick, they trade that pick to, forgot who it was. So they were 3 spots, lower than what they were supposed to. And they still ended up getting Tyler Linderbaum. So a couple steals for the Ravens there in the first round, I'd say.
Oh yeah. I want to get these 2 reactions, Trev and Saya. You guys both at your picks had the whole board of that position to choose from. how do you feel about the picks? Trev had the whole board of quarterbacks, go with the hometown kid, Pickett. I know you were probably a little higher on Willis going in,
Yeah.
but how are we feeling?
Yeah, I was
about it?
definitely. It was definitely a 1A 1B type situation. I mean, with Malik Willis, I liked him. I liked his versatility, like his mobility, his
Mhm.
big arm, all that. But then 1B, Kenny Pickett, he's still a dual threat quarterback. He's still got a decent arm, and he's a hometown kid. I think that was the really the real, whatever you call it, the edge
Oh,
that
The
he got.
cherry on top.
So I think that's why we went with him.
It's definitely like a reassuring feeling to know that like the whole Steelers front office has literally been in the same building as this kid for the past 4 years. And like,
Yeah, that's what they
if
said.
they've been around him that long and like are that confident to take him as like the first quarterback off the board, like I don't think they were second guessing anything there. So
Yeah, right
And
next door.
Saya?
That's what they said.
Drake London at 8 over Garrett Wilson, who I personally thought was going to go first, but how do you feel about that?
I was unsure of what we were doing with the first pick, but looking back on the draft class in total, I love the pick. Absolutely. I think that's probably our best pick. For one, he's gonna pair with Kyle Pitts tremendously. Having having a 6'4" and a 6'6" wide receiver and tight end on the field at the same time is going to create problems in the red zone and in just on the field in general. And I think London honestly stood out a little bit more from these other receivers, at least for the Falcons, because he's different, because he's so big, because he plays above the rim. It's something that the other receivers didn't necessarily have to their game. He's just not just as quick, but he's nearly as quick as the rest of them. He's got good as hands as the rest of them. Arguably, you could have I'd have no problem if you had Drake London as your number one over Garrett Wilson, depending on how you look at it. So I'm completely happy.
Oh yeah, that Twin Towers in Atlanta with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, that is definitely scary.
Yeah.
That's a lot of a lot of range being covered in that open field.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, we all have written down one steal, one reach, and our pick for best overall draft class from this draft. And so let's get into those a little bit. We'll start with the steals. I'll kick it off. My draft steal was actually a player who went undrafted, and I'm going with Justin Ross, wide receiver out of Clemson. I mean, obviously the big thing with him is the neck and spine injury, which is really scary. I mean, the spine is literally the like central of like your entire body and like wellness. So that's a tricky thing to deal with. But this guy in his freshman year was literally grown manning people on the field, especially in the playoffs on that national championship run with Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback. There's so much talent there before injury that I think that's crazy that he didn't end up getting drafted at some point, because obviously the health concern is a big thing, but if he can get healthy and get back to that same level of production, you could have yourself a solid starting receiver in this league. So Justin Ross, that's my steal.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll go next. I think my steal will have to be Devin Lloyd, dropping all the way down to 27. I think him and Nakobe Dean, I think, are the two most athletic linebackers in this draft. And just seeing him drop so far kind of astonished me. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that kid. So that's my steal.
Oh yeah, definitely expected him to be top half of the draft, but
I mean, hell, I'll go next. The one that really caught me off guard, because I definitely, with how he tested and just the buzz that was roaming around, Tariq Woolen, 5th round pick, went to the Seahawks, who I think honestly has a good chance of starting right away for. I mean, they drafted Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati, but with how physically gifted he is, I feel like we we were talking about how Sauce would be a very similar corner to Richard Sherman, but the size and the speed, he might be, similar case of more athletic Sherman. Late round pick as well. It could honestly be a very similar scenario. So honestly, I think that's the steal of the draft for me, is that they got a player that could be maybe better than their best corner ever. So who knows? I mean, I love it. It was a great pick, and they got him for a steal. So
All right.
All right, I'll go next. I think my steal of the draft is like everyone else's, Nakobe Dean. I think the most unexpected fall in the draft.
yeah,
all the way to the third round.
Yeah, third round.
To the Eagles. I mean, everyone's saying he's undersized, all that, blah, blah, blah. He's fast. He still fills the holes. He still makes the plays. So if the fact that he's undersized, it's not that big of a deal in my eyes, at least. He's still there. He's still making the plays, and I think he's going to be a very main piece of that Eagles defense one day.
Yeah, I think people are really underestimating his size when you look at what he brings in leadership. Because you got to remember, this was the quarterback of the national championship defense.
Yeah.
He set everybody in motion, called things out, was truly what's the best way to put it? It's like he had a bird's eye view of the field of everything that's happening, and that was just amazing.
There's also that clip that went viral when he started yelling at the other guy. I think it was Quay Walker, actually, when he started screaming at him on the field, telling him to get where he needed to go. And then the next play, Quay Walker makes a massive play, makes it that I'm pretty sure he got that. What was it, a sack or a strip fumble or something like that? That one of the key moments of that whole game, and it kind of just shows that. I mean, him being able to do that at such an elite level, or already playing in the SEC as well as in the championship. Him possibly even being able to do that in the NFL again, like I said, being that quarterback of the defense, it's kind of just exciting, like to think of how that kid could turn into something way bigger than we all expect.
Yeah, and it's crazy how that whole championship defense got drafted before the best player on that defense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Damn near.
Oh yeah. Dilly?
So my reach, I'm actually gonna go Tyler Smith to the Cowboys. Reason being, last year, you draft Micah Parsons, ends up winning defensive rookie of the year. You're up next. You still have Jermaine Johnson on the board, which you lost to Marcus Lawrence. Jermaine Johnson could easily be another defensive rookie of the year contender, especially with that Cowboys defense. A steal I have, I know he's older than most rookies, but I still have to go Bernard Raymond all the way to the Colts. I mean, I feel like this might be another Quentin Nelson type deal. I mean, Colts got Quentin Nelson in the third or fourth round as well. I mean, yeah, he's older, but he was also, projected way higher, probably by most of us than the third round. So,
yeah, definitely a day one starter.
To go with my best draft class, got to give it to the Jets. I mean, Sauce Gardner, right? I really like Jeremy Rucker. I really like that pick for the Jets. Not sure why. I just like the dude, He gives off good energy. Garrett Wilson,
I mean, I'll Jeremy Rucker is a solid tight end that managed to find the end zone a lot. Working with Fields, working with Stroud. So
he also has fantastic hands. So
yeah, he's someone that can definitely cover the middle of the field for the Jets.
Yep.
And he's and just being at an OSU. I mean, again, playing higher level defenses, it kind of helps again maintain that level of play. Hopefully, into his rookie year, being able to actually do something on what we're all expecting to be a revitalized, like a revived Jets offense and just entire team in a way.
For my steal, this is a pick I questioned, but after looking into the statistics of what he was able to do at college and how he tested, I got to go with my homegrown Falcon pick, Troy Anderson. This is a guy that is 6'3.5", 250, has 33-inch arms, that is an absolute missile coming down in the run game. He ran the linebackers fastest 40 time at a 4.41. He also played quarterback in 2018, was an all-conference selection there, was also an all-conference selection at linebacker in 2018 and 2021. So he's got a lot of potential, and I think with just some better technique and understanding of one position, getting him down to just understanding one position and how he can impact the game there. I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah,
It was definitely a great selection. I loved him coming out of college.
Yeah, if you guys want to go look at it, there are some mind-blowing stats he had. He also played running back in 2018. He literally was the do-it-all player for Montana State and has just a tremendous football IQ.
Swiss Army knife, if you will.
oh yeah.
Almost definitely.
I'll go ahead and give out my reach too. I think that the Buccaneers choosing Logan Hall at the beginning of the second round is a bit of a reach with the other prospects that were already on the board in Arnold Ebiketie. Let me go back to the picks here, because there were some great edges that were still on the board that had higher upside rather than Logan Hall. He started all 32, 35 games in his collegiate career. So that's a great sign. But he lacks some of the physical traits, and he has slightly short arms. He's not that explosive.
I think his game translates more to like a 3 technique in the NFL. And I think that's where they're going to probably slot him in to start his career at least.
I guess, but personally, I think there were better edges on the board still.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, you're definitely right.
You had Ojabo still on the board. You had Sam Williams still on the board, Drake Jackson still on the board, and Nick Benito.
For my reach, sorry, Bush, I got to go with Cole Strange. That's just a strange pick.
Good.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really know too much about the dude, but I don't know. UT Chattanooga. That's a small school to be going first round in the NFL draft. That definitely could have been a day 2 pick.
Oh, it definitely could have been a day 2 pick. But it's one of those things where like,
go get your guy, I guess. But
yeah, and it's not like there's not potential, because honestly, out of all the guards in the draft, he might have the highest upside. He's the 7th most athletic guard to ever be drafted in the common era. It's not like there isn't potential. It's just why the first round? Why late first round? Like, did something tell you that he was going to get drafted soon before your pick? Like, I just didn't. It was weird. That was weird. That was just weird. It was strange.
It was very strange.
Strange.
Yeah, that's about all I got on that.
I'll go with another reach. I love the Packers that they did it, but because they picked Quay Walker with their 22nd pick. And the reason why I'm so confused is because not that Quay Walker's a bad player, and it's just you had Devin Lloyd, who is basically the same player but better in every aspect. With the linebackers, it was more of like pick your poison who you wanted, because basically the top 5-6 linebackers had completely different skill sets, except for those two linebackers. Like Devin Lloyd and Quay Walker were the closest comparisons of linebackers in the whole entire draft, and Devin Lloyd's just better in everything. And the Packers still selected Quay Walker, so it was very confusing. I figured they were gonna go defense with both picks, considering the fact that they already talked about going second round for receiver. But the Quay Walker was just very questionable. It just did not like it.
Fair enough.
All right, I got you guys with my reach. Hear me out. John Mechie,
Yeah.
44th overall to the Texans. It's more of a situational kind of thing. They traded up to 44 to select John Mechie, who is still a solid Alabama product, just came off a torn ACL. They picked him in front of a similar but better Sky Moore and George Pickens.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not even sure if he's going to play this
That
season.
too.
I mean, there's that. And so why trade up for a guy when those receivers on the board? It just, no.
And you also got like a very similar, not if not the exact same type of receiver in Brandon Cooks that you just re-signed or extended to another 3 years now. He's under contract.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also, that's questionable.
It was weird.
I'm gonna go next. My reach is for the Niners, and it's Tyrion Davis Price at 93rd.
Huh.
I think it's just I think it's a little too early. A lot of people had him super, super low in their their lists of prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy had him at 276 out of 300. So seeing him drafted at 93 is still kind of head scratching. So
The weirdest part about it is I thought they loved Elijah Mitchell. Like, why
thought so
draft
too.
another running back in the third round, especially one that's not even graded high? Like it.
Dude, you know the Niners. They can't get enough of running
They
backs.
can't get enough of running backs, but
I mean,
just grab another one undrafted. Damn.
But the thing is, all of their running back guys continually go down with an injury year after year, depleting their running back room. So I feel like that was an insurance pick maybe, but there were definitely still better running backs available.
Oh yeah.
Before that.
But who knows? I mean, damn, they make any running back look good in that system. So I mean, that's the one thing they are good at is running the ball. So who knows? Maybe he'll fit in perfectly. Elijah Mitchell, God, hopefully not. But I mean, he gets injured and that kid comes in and rushes for 1,000 yards and it's fucking best rookie running back. Who knows? It's just.
I don't know about best rookie running back, but
you don't know. You don't know because honestly, the 1 year I always go back to is when Jordan Howard was the second leading rusher, and that kid nobody even talked about.
I think there's a difference between him and Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall kind of is just the standout best running back in this draft class, and I think
Kenneth Walker is better. I'd still stand by that. Kenneth Walker is a better.
I mean, I think it's fair, but Breece Hall, that guy is a monster. I mean, actually being able to go see him live because I went to an Iowa State game last year with my roommate, and that guy's just a dude. I don't think there was a game that I genuinely watched with him that he didn't run for over 100 yards and ran for at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. Like that guy just finds the end zone, has a knack for just running the ball, and he runs the ball hard. He doesn't go down easily. So I don't know.
Yeah. Did everybody give their reach?
I think everybody gave their reach. I think the one thing we need to give is best
draft classes. Yep.
All right. I'll start that off. Contrary to what DiMaggio said about his reach, I got the Packers as my best class.
Still a great draft class.
I probably personally I would have taken Lloyd over Walker. I agree. But getting Devontae Wyatt at 28 was a major steal. I was very high on Devontae Wyatt. I thought he was a lock for top 20. I thought he was going to be pretty much right after Jordan Davis goes, but he fell. I'm glad we picked him up. Super athletic. down defensive lineman, a guy we can slot in right next to Kenny Clark, should definitely help our run game, our run defense. And same with Quay Walker. I mean, we just like, that's the one thing we really lacked is like rangy athletic linebackers, and it really showed in our run defense. But and then in the second round to trade up to be aggressive, which I love to see, and pick up Christian Watson. Another really great pick for the Packers. Getting Aaron Rodgers, a premier weapon. Obviously, he wasn't part of that like upper echelon group of receivers in this year's class, but I think he was definitely like in the B group for sure. And that's a solid pick to get. And then even later on in the draft, we got Ryan, the offensive lineman out of UCLA. That's a pretty solid pick. And then Romeo Doubs in the fourth, another solid receiver, building up that receiver room. And then in the fifth round, we got Kingsley Enagbare, or Enagbare, however you say that, out of South Carolina, the edge rusher. I think that's a really solid pick too, like value wise for the fifth round.
I agree. He was
definitely
someone
a high
I
upside
had.
player.
He was someone I was keeping my eye on day 3.
Yeah. So yeah, no, overall Packers really solid draft. I mean, with the picks we made, I definitely expect our defense to be top 10, maybe even borderline top 5 this year. So
the one
we'll
thing
see what
I
Aaron
was
Rodgers can do
pissed
with that.
about, I watched y'all's draft and I was pissed because literally just watching y'all draft every single player that I was expecting the Bears to draft just killed me on the inside. Like genuinely, I wanted Christian Watson drafted before us. Romeo Doubs drafted before us. The one player that you didn't talk about that honestly I think will be your starting guard this upcoming year is Zach Tom. Zach Tom out of Wake Forest is extremely athletic. He's just a little underweight right now, but you get him in that weight room, and honestly, he could be fighting for your best offensive lineman at that point. And I'm not wavering from that. I think he could genuinely be your best offensive lineman next to David Bakhtiari.
And Elton Jenkins.
I think he's better than Elton. I'm gonna tell you. I think by the end of his career, he'll be better.
All right.
I'm high on him.
I'll go next. I think my favorite draft class this year is the Eagles draft class. Obviously 13 picking Jordan Davis. I mean, one of the best athletes we've seen out of that position in a very, very long time. The way he tested and the way he played was just incredible. That guy's just a freak of nature. Being as big as he is, as quick as he is, and as strong as he is, it's just disgusting. And then I think their second pick, Cam Jurgens. I mean, the guy's a beast. I think it's a little weird just considering that they still have their star snapping the ball in Jason Kelsey. He's getting up there in age. Guy's a monster though, so I think it's great for him to learn from Jason Kelsey, being one of the better centers in the league. So I think it's going to be pretty big for them. And then obviously we were talking about Nakobe Dean, their third round pick, another stud defensive player there. Like we said, possibly even the biggest steal of the draft. And then another, their fourth round pick, Kyron Johnson, another linebacker that's going to fill a spot possibly, and even get a lot of playing time this year for that Eagles defense as well. So, and not to top it all off, they also did get AJ Brown in a trade during the draft. So that Eagles team very much might be scary and has a possibility to win their division this year. I think it's going to be them and the Cowboys in that very, very top. And I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see them play this year.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I'll go next with the sleeper team. And I think with how the draft night went in the first round, people were a little skeptical on how they drafted the rest of the time. But looking at it at the end of it all, the Tennessee Titans had a wonderful draft. They had a great draft. Treylon Burks is basically a cheaper AJ Brown with honestly a higher ceiling. Roger McCreary is a extremely physical corner. And if the kid from Virginia Tech and the rest of that DB room, honestly, if he comes back healthy, that DB room is impressive as hell. It's quite scary, especially in a division where Trevor Lawrence is still trying to grow. Davis Mills is still trying to grow. And Matt Ryan is trying to compete for a playoff spot. So I love that. Nicholas Petit slides in at right tackle perfectly. And then I'm going to skip over one of these picks real quick because I want to talk about them before we get to the specific one that we're all thinking about. But Hassan Haskins, perfect backup, perfect change of pace for Derrick Henry. Okwanakwu, I think I said that right, hopefully. Maryland, honestly, was one of my favorite tight end prospects, and he can be used very similarly to a Kyle Juszczyk role. So I'm very excited to see how they use him. Kyle Phillips is my sleeper receiver of this whole draft class. Honestly, I know Traylon Burks is great. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Phillips had a better season than he did, though, coming out of the slot. I'm not going to lie. He's just a very physical slot receiver that runs routes very well. Not to compare him to another white receiver, but Kyle Phillips is very, very similar to a Cooper Kupp type player. But I think the biggest thing that came out of this draft class, Malik Willis in the third round. We're tired of seeing Tannehill. Malik Willis doesn't need to come in to play the first year. Ryan Tannehill can at least be a really good bridge quarterback. And then he comes in, plays super well, and then Malik Willis is a starter for a team that has a lot of potential. So honestly, Tennessee Titans, I think, made out like bandits and saved a lot of money by trading A.J. Brown for essentially Traylon Burks. So,
boom. All right, I go next. I got the Chiefs as a winner in the draft. They took with their first pick, they had 2 picks in the first round. With the first pick, they took Trent McDuffie at a position that they really needed. I think he'll be a day one starter. With their second pick,
I'm going on 5-3.
What'd you say, Butch?
Number 3. I said that's my 3 in the CD room. That's my 3.
Cornerback number 3.
Yeah. And then with their second first round pick, they got an absolute steal. The one I was debating for the steal of the draft, George Karlaftis.
Yeah.
Excellent edge, pass rusher. And then second round, they followed up with another weapon for Patrick Mahomes and Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Which he's probably going to be a day one starter as well. And in the third round, they followed up with Leo Chanel.
Shout out.
They had a great draft.
Yeah. Shout out Wisconsin.
Shout out.
Leo Chanel is a dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought he was going to go early second, honestly. And the fact that they got him middle of the third.
So yeah,
I even could have seen him going like late round
steals in a
1,
row.
like the way either last year or 2 years ago, Zach Bond out of Wisconsin slid up into that late first round of the Saints.
Yeah.
But no, that's definitely a steal for the
And
third round.
like Tice talked about having Justin Ross come undrafted. I mean, that team they lost a whole lot, but then they got it right back. So
Somehow, some way, I'm tired of the Chiefs just doing well with it.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
Chiefs
what
be
the
making
hell?
those grimy Chiefs picks.
Yeah. Like I don't understand it. It makes no sense. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Third, I'll hit you guys with my next. For a team that didn't have a lot of holes coming into the draft, I think all of their selections filled a great need in preserving the Buffalo Bills championship winner.
Yep.
First, they start their draft off with Kaiir Elam, another stud corner out of Florida. He's gonna play extremely well next to Tre'Davious White. They're almost identical in play style. 2 aggressive, physical man corners that surprisingly love to tackle. And then they get James Cook in the second. That's probably the best pick I got for them, because he adds something to their offense that they haven't had before, which is a back being able to catch outside of the backfield. And James Cook can legitimately run routes. He did it at Georgia multiple times during the season. So he's a dual threat both on the ground and in the air for them. And then I think getting Khalil Shakur to fill that void. I know I had mocked them to get Jahan Dotson, but Khalil Shakur adds a tougher yak ability than Jahan Dotson does, and he fits the Bill system, Bills Mafia. Love that.
just grinding slide.
And then for my personal like favorite player in the entire draft, they get Matt Ariza at the start of the 6th round. The punt god literally can flip fields in one punt. We saw him do it in the NFL Combine, punting in an insane like 80-yarder that rolled into at least the 10-yard line. And then they got some pieces that can fill depth, being Christian Benford at corner out of Villanova, Luke Tenuta, offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech, and then another depth guy, Balin Spector, linebacker out of Clemson.
No, I agree with you about that James Cook pick. Honestly, it was like their key piece that were missing out of that Bills backfield. So now you have the power in Zach Moss, the receiving in James Cook, and the explosiveness of James Cook. And then just Devin Singletary being that solid, basically can do it all type, like good at everything, but master of none. Like, so honestly, they low key have one of these stronger backfields of just having like everything available to them no matter what. So honestly, yeah, another great draft.
Oh yeah.
We can all agree the winner, the number one winner of this whole draft has got to be the University of Georgia.
Yeah, that is the winner. That is the winner.
The biggest loser is Texas.
And biggest loser's got to be Texas. They had zero first-round picks or 0 draft picks in general. And then there were schools like Lenore Rhine that had more draft picks than them.
You mean Chattanooga?
Beth Cookman.
It's just rough for Texas right now.
What was it? They had a two what is it?
There's a guy that ran for the U.S. that hasn't played, or he ran U.S. track in the Olympics that hasn't played football in like 5 years that also got drafted to a team.
That's so fun.
Yeah. But University of Texas hopefully is on a come up. You know, our hometown Bijan Robinson guy for us. So
Quinn Ewers.
Yes, sir.
Quinn Ewers. Watch out for Texas. They might make some splash.
Possibly Arch Manning.
Possibly Arch Manning.
Possibly. But
Shall see. Texas could be coming back.
Texas could
for right now.
Probably
though,
not.
Horns down.
But they could. Horns down.
For right now, the horns are down.
You're gonna get fined for that. But
Well, shoot. Anybody else got anything to add on the draft?
Nah, that draft was insane. It was a fun time the whole way through. I do want to target the Bears for not drafting more receivers, especially drafting one that's 25 years old, damn near. He's actually older than AJ Brown, but it's fine. The draft is fine. We got, honestly, the second round really just took the cake for me for the Bears. But
shout out USC. Shout out USC. Drake London. Got Drake Jackson. Got stud edge rusher right there. He's our edge rusher, number 99. And then we also have 2 Drakes in the draft from the same team.
I was about to say, what the fuck?
Yep.
But
a little bit of betting odds for some guys. I think Drake put down like $200,000. Yeah, $200,000 off Drake London being the top 10 pick, and surely enough,
I think it was first receiver off the board, and it payoff was like 200-something thousand.
Yeah, and surprising, regardless of it was first receiver off the board or first or receiver in the top 10, he would have hit it. He would have hit on both.
He would have hit.
That Drake curse no longer.
Yeah, Drake betting on Drake just made too much sense.
It just sounds right.
Just does.
I'll add one thing. Obviously, the Cardinals gave away their draft pick for Marquis Brown, but I at first I was kind of shocked on it, considering we re-signed Zach Ertz to 3 years. But I do like the Trey McBride pick in round 2. Obviously he is considered to be the best tight end coming out of the draft, right? And I would have been cool with Nick Bonito, just because he was still on the board. That would have helped us get back in what we lost in Chandler Jones and a pass rusher. But I'm a fan of the Trey McBride pick.
There was, I think, honestly, like, I'm not going to try and dog on him because I think the Cardinals draft class was not good. It was not a very good draft class, but I think looking, there was 2 late round picks that I genuinely was very impressed with. It was Lecitus Smith out of Virginia Tech and Marquise Hayes out of Oklahoma. Both very athletic, big guards that I think, honestly, both of them by the end of the year could be starting for the Cardinals. So I think maybe the early picks were a little questionable. I think they got Myjai Sanders out of
Cincinnati. Yeah, they did.
I really liked that pick. Other than that, though, I was kind of confused on what they were trying to do, especially receiver-wise, because I understand they got Marquise and they have Deandre, but I don't know anybody behind them, so maybe a little depth would have helped.
We have AJ Green too and Rondale Moore. I wish we could have, because Rondale Moore is on the come up. We also have Antoine Wesley, who will be, in that rotation with Diop out, who, when he got his few catches last year were not bad catches. I mean, 2 of them were for tutties, Yeah, I would have liked to see a receiver coming out of our draft class. I don't know about Keontae Ingram, I think is his name, the running back we drafted.
I'm not gonna lie, that was actually my favorite pick that you guys made. I forgot about that entirely. I think he honestly could be your starting running back by the end of the season. James Conner's a great power back, but I think the only thing he brings to the table is power. Like, that's it. And Keontae has a very different running style that is more equipped to today's rushers. So I think I really like that one.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing for me here. I want to show some love to the state of Arizona and Arizona players in general. Stanley Berryhill, congratulations, my man, getting an undrafted free agent contract with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm super excited to see what he could do. Love going to U of A games, watching him break out, take him for 40, take him for 50. So I'm really happy for the guy.
Well, speaking of kids from Arizona, including Tucson, we actually Derek Bush from South Point, we signed undrafted as well. The Bears did. So shout out to him. Really proud, really great for him. I'm really excited to see what he does.
South Point, of
really
course. It's always South Point.
It's always South Point. But I mean, it's always great seeing some kids from the 5-2-0 come out and make the league and do something. So honestly, I mean, hopefully, we all know Bijan's going to go either late first round or whatever happens. I mean, he's going to get drafted. I think that's guaranteed.
I mean, he was damn near a Heisman finalist. I mean, the first half of last year, he was in the conversation.
I'm pretty sure he finished top 10 even after everything happened in Texas.
So I think this year, when they start winning some games and shit, I think he'll get more. He won't go on
vastly. The majority of those wins coming because of him.
Mostly because of him. But it'll be great. I'm really excited for that. I mean, I know the draft's now far away because it just happened, but eventually we'll see him get drafted, and it's gonna be very exciting. Very happy.
Eventually, it'll be April all over again, and
eventually
we'll be doing this.
We'll be talking about the same stuff.
Hey, all I gotta say
is
shit. If the Bears have another early pick, and David Montgomery's off contract next year, Bijan declares, and maybe he goes early second, the Bears could be right there. So hey, I mean, it's just an idea. It's just an idea.
Have to possibly cop a Bijan Robinson.
I had to cop a Bijan jersey. That'd be kind of sick, but hey, it's just an idea.
Yeah, all day. No matter what, dude. No matter what team, you gotta.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day.
Once Nick Gonzalez makes his debut, I'm covering jersey.
You get Bijan on the Falcons. That'd be sick.
Be a hard jersey.
Going back to the old days, or the Broncos when I had to play when he just bent my team over.
Didn't Stan be on the Falcons?
But yeah,
that do it.
And that will wrap it up.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. New episode.
Thirsty.
So stay tuned for that.
We will indeed.
Alrighty, y'all.
Deuces, y'all.
Catch you,
Don't
boys.
show the rings.